โอเคนะคะตอนนี้มาถึงในส่วนของวิธีการพูดหรือการบรรยายให้น่าสนใจเวลาเราพาเขาท่องเที่ยวหรือศึกษาดูงานเนี่ยจะทำให้น่าสนใจเนี่ยอันแรกเลยที่เป็นขั้นพื้นฐานของการสื่อสารภาษาเนี่ยก็คือต้องพูดสโลว์พูดช้าพูดเคลียร์คือพูดชัดนะคะแล้วก็เวลาตอบคำถาม question ต่างๆก็ต้องเคลียร์อะไรต่างๆเหล่านี้อันนั้นเป็นพื้นฐานแต่ถ้าเกิดจะทำให้น่าสนใจอีกเนี่ยเราต้องใส่คำขยายค่ะใส่คำขยายอย่างเช่นสถานที่นี้สวยก็คือ beautiful นะคะ beautiful มันยิ่งใหญ่มากเลยมัน great นะนี่คือคำขยายต่างๆนะคะหรือว่าการที่เราจะให้มันน่าสนใจเนี่ยเราอาจจะบอกว่ามันเป็นไงคะมันออกแบบโดยนะดีไซน์ by นะออกแบบโดยหรือว่ามันเป็นสถานที่ทางประวัติศาสตร์มันเป็น history นะมันเป็นมรดกอารยธรรมเนี่ยเราขยายมันเป็นมรดกก็ใช้คำว่า heritage อะไรพวกนี้นะคะเพราะนั้นเป็นสิ่งที่เมื่อเราได้อธิบายคำพื้นฐานได้แล้วเนี่ยเราก็จะเติมคำขยายไปก็จะทำให้การนำเสนอภาษาอังกฤษของเรานี้น่าสนใจยิ่งขึ้นค่ะ
So here are some useful tips on maintaining interest. Maintaining was a key word. It means keeping interest. Make sure the interest of your customers and clients is with you and your places of interest. When speaking English, it's important to think about some of these do's and don'ts.In the green, we have some things that are good to do, and in the red, we have some things that are not good to do. Let's look at the green. What is good to do? What we should do when speaking English and giving our tours? Number 1, do speak slowly and loudly.So people can hear you and understand. Always remember that your listeners may not understand your English because they are also second language speakers. Maybe their English is not the same level as you. Maybe it is lower. So speak slowly to make sure all your listeners can understand.The second good piece of advice is do take pauses. Do not speak and speak and speak and speak and speak and speak because your listeners will sometimes stop listening. Give them time to take some photos. Give them time to think about what you said and maybe give them time to ask you to repeat it.To repeat what you just said. And also, it adds some drama if you take a little pause. People will wait. What will they say next? Our third thing, which is a good thing to do, is do ask questions. Ask your listeners some questions.Instead of just giving facts and facts and facts and facts and facts and then stop, get your listeners involved in what you are saying. Ask for their opinion. What do you think of this beautiful old building? Have you been here before? Are you enjoying the day?If you ask them questions, you are building a stronger relationship and helping your listeners to communicate with you more. Another useful tip is maybe give some stories, some helpful, interesting little stories that you may have learned from doing research. People do want to know the facts, but it's also quite interesting to have some stories. Now, it might be quite difficult to give those stories in English, so this may take a little bit of preparation in advance. So if you want to give a story about your place of interest, maybe you can do that before you give the tour. Prepare some keywords and how to give your story in English. Practice a couple of times so you are prepared to give your little story in English. And finally, do give personal opinions. This will make what you are saying more interesting for your listeners. Use phrases like, I think, in my opinion, this is my favorite. I really like this one. Giving your personal opinion makes your tour more personal and makes a stronger communication connection with you and your customers. So those are some things to think about when you are maybe writing some mini speeches for your practice, or maybe if you are giving an imaginary tour to your friends for practice. You can try to think about some of these useful things to do. Make sure you include them. Some things that we should not do, not a good idea in the red. Don't speak too much. If you speak too much, maybe your listeners will stop listening because it's difficult for them to understand. So take some pauses. Give your listeners some time to absorb, take in what you are saying. Don't speak too quickly. Always remember, your listeners might also be second language speakers. Also, if it's in a loud or busy place, maybe your listeners cannot hear so well. So remember to speak slowly and clearly so everybody understands you. Another important thing when speaking English is don't speak in the same tone. You want to change your tone a little bit. This can be difficult for some second language speakers, especially if your native language is a tonal language, like Thai. Thai language is a tonal language where you use tone to show different meanings of words. Now, English is not a tonal language, so we do not use tone to change the meaning of a word. But we still change our tone when we speak. We do not speak in the same flat tone continuously. We do not speak in the same flat tone continuously. Did you hear the difference between those two sentences? If you speak in one tone only, it is very boring for your listeners. They will stop listening to you. So practice changing your tone, going up and going down, going up and going down. This can be difficult for native speakers of a tonal language. So my advice to you is listen to as much English as you can. Short clips on YouTube. Look at some of those videos I showed you before. And try to not focus on the words. Try to forget the meaning of the words and instead listen to the change in tone. Listen to how their tone goes up and down and stays flat sometimes. Your changing of tone can only be improved by listening to natives and trying to copy the way they speak. It's not something you can do overnight. So remember, flat tone is not interesting. A change of tone can be more interesting for your listeners. Listen to some YouTube videos for this. Don't give too many dates. Dates is a lot of numbers. This building was built in 1908. This one was built in 1912. It was restored in 1918 and then it was changed in 1922. That's a lot of dates, a lot of numbers. Maybe your listeners only want a few dates, 2 or 3 dates. Don't overwhelm, don't give too many dates. Focus more on interesting stories and personal opinions. And finally, don't be underprepared. Maybe you know your place of interest very well. You know this place, you have shown many times, and you know everything about this place. The dates, the history, the interesting stories.